following is a special presentation of WTCI, Chattanooga, North Georgia, and the Tennessee Valley. Funding for this program is brought to you by Barnett Company, specializing in tax-efficient strategies for the preservation and distribution of family wealth, offering continuous investment management with the focus on long-term strategies. Areas of service include investment, estate, education and retirement planning. Barnett Company, the power of compound returns over time. On the web at barnettandcompany.com.
Meet Jordan Thomas, a Chattanooga native whose hope of helping others has reached the eyes and ears of the world.
It's unfortunate that it took something like my accident to give me the perspective that I have now today. Everything that my accident, it might have taken my legs, but it's given me back tenfold.
Hear his most revealing interview coming up on this edition of the A-List. August 16th, 2005, a then 16-year-old Jordan Thomas lost his legs in a serious accident that almost took his life. The young man walked away stronger, wiser, and on a mission, eventually launching a foundation to help children in need of prosthetics. And 4 years later, CNN recognized him as a Hero of the Week, and by the end of 2009, named him as one of their top 10 heroes, giving his foundation $25,000. Well, Jordan, thank you for being on the A-List.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Now, as you mentioned before, anybody who watches CNN knows that you were not only the Hero of the Week at one time, but now you're one of the top 10 heroes, like, on the planet. So,
Planet, right.
That is amazing. How comfortable are you with that moniker, with being called a hero?
Not at all. I don't want to minimize what people have to say. I appreciate that very much, but like I said, I'm just kind of a normal kid that was thrown into an abnormal situation. Hero, that's, I don't like to be put on a pedestal or anything. I just tried to make a change to something that's not right, and my parents instilled good values, and I just tried to change something, help people out, and in turn, that's helped me tremendously.
Now, how did you get to be a Hero of the Week to begin with?
Well, it's a crazy story. A good friend of mine is a professional photographer, and I was in his art show, and a CNN person came to cover the art show and said, "Who's this kid?" Because my picture was between Annika Sormsand and Tiger Woods, and he's like, "Who's this kid?" And he said my story, and they said, "Well, let's get in touch with him." And CNN originally did a piece, and then CNN Heroes called to do a piece, and then it just snowballed. It's crazy. So it's been amazing. It's so humbling. I was watching a special last night on all the heroes, and these people are all around the world doing tremendous things for people, and to be recognized alongside them, it's huge, and it's such an honor, and it's so humbling.
He has raised $400,000 and helps each child. See, that's why it doesn't matter how old you are. A hero is someone who just acts no matter what. That's Jordan, a fearless young person trying to right a wrong. In the fall of 2009, Jordan was chosen to receive the National Courage Center 2009 award. Among the nominees were Michael J. Fox, Muhammad Ali, and Jenny McCarthy. In 2009, Jordan also received the Association of Fundraising Professionals Youth and Philanthropy Award. Jordan says he saw a need and wanted to help, but maintains he's just like anyone else. What was it like growing up in Chattanooga for you? Before all of this happened, was it just your typical middle-of-the-run family, brothers, rough housing, things like that? Pretty much. I just played a lot of golf, involved in a lot of sports, and just really in the community. I just was a typical kid and just did everything. So it was great. I'm so blessed to live here, and we have such a great community. When you go to school, you realize how fortunate you are to live here, and I'm certainly going to return here, and I'm so fortunate to live here. Now, has that family dynamic changed at all in the past 4 years? Definitely. I think it's brought us a lot tighter, and we certainly have a newfound appreciation for things in life, not necessarily the big things, but the little things, spending time together, and I think it's definitely brought us closer as a family for sure.
For this 16-year-old, life was as close to typical as it could get. That is, until a family vacation to the Florida Keys. Jordan had just returned from a summer in Spain, reuniting with his mom, dad, and 2 brothers for one last trip before the start of school.
Will you explain a little bit about what happened that day in 2005?
Yeah, it was a beautiful day. My dad, mom, and I wanted to go do some spearfishing, and we were 5 miles off the coast in the Keys, and I was pushed behind the boat by a big wave, and I remember being underneath the boat, and I heard the propeller go, and I knew what had happened immediately. I looked down, and I saw blood in the water, and I knew that something was wrong. My dad jumped into the water, and I said, "Dad, my feet are gone. We have to go." I tried to remain as calm as possible because I knew that this injury was life-threatening. I knew that I had a sense of urgency, but I had also a kind of a calmness come over my body that day that I can't explain. It was the most surreal experience of my life, and they did a great job. Both my parents are doctors, and I wouldn't be here today without them. So I'm so thankful for them. They saved my life, and I credit that to them. So it was a horrible, horrible accident, but the things that have come out of it have made it all worth it for sure. We got into the marina as quickly as possible, and paramedics took over from there and did a great job getting me to a hospital, and I was airlifted to Miami and went into surgery, and everything went seamlessly from when I was in the water to there in the hospital. It was the most surreal experience of my life. I obviously, that day I learned that there was a presence there that was watching over me that day for sure. It definitely solidified that idea in my mind. I wasn't really scared, and I can't explain why, because now when I think about it now, if I put myself in that situation now, I would be terrified, I think. But that day I just had this calmness, and I can't explain it.
So you're the baby boy of 3. Mm-hmm. What do your brothers say about you?
They heckle me and they keep me grounded, and they're just normal brothers, and they don't treat me any differently since I've been on CNN. Or it's just my brothers, and I'm so thankful for them, and I look up to them so much, and I'm inspired by them.
Were they with you that day that the accident happened?
My middle brother was there. He wasn't there on the boat, but he was at the house. My oldest brother was in Tampa. But my middle brother, my parents called him and said, "Look, this happened. This is bad. You have to drive to Miami." And he just did it. He just did it. And my oldest brother drove down that night. And it was great, just that support there in the hospital. That's what I really noticed those other kids lacked, was that family support, because that's what got me through it.
What did your brothers do when they came to visit you that first day?
They brought a sign that said, "Run, Forrest, run." And at that point I knew I was okay. I knew I was out of the woods, and I was so great. It was so great to see them and my friends and my family. It was unbelievable.
Jordan says it was the outpouring of strength, love, and friendship that pulled him through during this time. And from inside the hospital walls, he had a surprising revelation.
So when did the idea of the Jordan Thomas Foundation first come into your mind?
When I was in the hospital, I met so many kids that were less fortunate than myself, and right there I realized that there was something I had to do. I thought at first it would just be a one-time donation, but I realized that we had to do something more sustainable. So the foundation came up there in the hospital, and it's really taken off since then.
So you're lying in bed, You've lost your legs,
Right.
You're getting measured, I guess, for your own prosthetics, and you think about starting a foundation?
Right. I think I was raised really well, and my parents kind of instilled these kind of values to think of others first, and that stuck out to me. And unfortunately, I wasn't faced with the financial burden that most people are faced with prosthetics. I knew that I could afford the best prosthetics possible for the rest of my life. So I think that enabled me to look out and to realize that kids needed my help, and that's why we started it.
What would you say is the general mission of the Jordan Thomas Foundation?
To provide kids with the prosthetics they deserve to be happy and productive members of society. I think that all kids should get prosthetics, and that's what we're doing.
How do you know when you're succeeding?
I don't know. I think to maximize the amount of kids that you can help. I think it's an issue that will never be totally eradicated, but you just have to make the biggest difference you can, and I think we're on a good start.
So how long between the idea that hits you to start this foundation and the first recipient?
That's a good question. I think it was about a year.
How personal do you get with your recipients?
It's been difficult because our first recipient comes from a Mennonite family. So they kind of keep themselves pretty removed and all that. And our third recipient is an immigrant from Eastern Europe, or Western Europe. So it's been tough with those two, but our middle recipient, Noah, has been great. We have a great relationship, and we're happy with all three of our recipients. We're so fortunate, and we couldn't ask for better recipients. Just over a year, we got Elena, and we couldn't be happier. She's such an angel, and seeing her walk that day was one of the best experiences of my life because I realized it was kind of a culmination of a group effort, and the whole community really came together, and I was so proud to see her walk that day.
And she was in a wheelchair until then.
Right, she was essentially wheelchair bound, the really sad thing was she would stay inside and watch her brothers and sisters go out and play, and so I can't imagine that. But then we provided her with these legs, and now she's so rough on her legs that she can no longer. We can't give her pediatric components because she breaks them all. We have to give her adult components to this little girl because she's so hard on them. So that's what we love. We love to see kids return to the same functional level before their accident. It's a blessing.
Oh, you've got that new leg, don't you? Do you like this one more?
Since its inception, the foundation has selected and continues to work with 3 different children, providing prosthetics to them until they reach the age of 18. Jordan admits it is a major financial obligation for the organization.
So talk to me a little about that process. How often do you have to get new prosthetics? What's the cost associated?
A lot of people don't understand. Like I said, my legs are $24,000. They don't know the cost of it. I didn't know anything about prosthetics before my accident. A lot of insurance companies will provide a kid with one leg for a lifetime, which is like shoes for a lifetime for a kid. It's just not feasible to have one pair of shoes forever. So people have to spend a tremendous amount of money to give kids the prosthetics that they need to live happy, productive lives. Our first recipient, they have 6 kids. They sold their home, moved in with another family to afford a first pair of prosthetics. So you see these kind of sacrifices that people make for their kids, and it just motivates you to do more and to raise more and to keep fighting.
Jordan's desire to help others goes far beyond fundraising. He's become an advocate for change and a voice that resonates with lawmakers.
Now with all this healthcare reform going on right now, I know that's also an issue close to home.
Right.
You've been to D.C.
Huge.
What happened there when you were there?
It was a great opportunity. It was a great experience for me to see how lawmaking goes on. It was great. I'm excited. The language in the current legislation for amputees, it's really exciting. But we'll see how it turns out in the end, because Washington is so stuff gets added and cut out, and